Don't you feel shame calling yourself an officer, betraying your own people? James, why are you putting the blame on me? You think I wanted to bring you here? The whole department is behind this. I'm not the black sheep. You are the black sheep. You all will be exposed. Really? And who will expose us once you're rotting in your grave? You can take my life, but this won't be the end. Oh, shut up, officer. Your time is up. Officer James Harding was found by the seaport in a horrible condition. No one knew who had taken his life, and from what it seemed, no one would ever know. Vivian stood by his coffin, saying her last goodbyes as her heart wrenched. She and James had been married for almost 10 years. He was her everything, but this departure was much more heavy on their 8-year-old son, Stephen, who suffered from autism. Stephen was very close to James. He was the one person he would open up to and be comfortable around, even more than he was with Vivian. But now, she didn't know how she would handle it all. Vivian passed a glance at James's partner, join her, Officer Norman Woodrow. If you ever need anything, give me a call. Everyone shared their condolences, but of course, with time, people simply forget and move on. As for Vivian, she fell into difficult times, not just emotionally, but financially. Stephen was all alone, and despite needing the most care and support now, Vivian was unable to be there for him, having to work 2 jobs. After a long day, around 10 p.m., Vivian was returning home. The streets were near empty. All the stores and shops were closed. But Vivian spotted a group of thugs hanging around, jesting as they noticed her. Isn't that Harding's wife? She's beautiful. The men all crossed over and began following her. Where are you going, gorgeous? There ain't no one waiting for you at home. Come spend the night with us. Leave me alone. Come on now. Harding is dead. You need a man to keep you some company. Get away from me or I'll shout. Yeah? And who's gonna come to your rescue now? This is our city. Sorry I'm late. It's okay, I really have to go. I'll see you tomorrow. It was past 11 when Vivian returned home. As the babysitter ran off, she went inside to check on Stephen. He was probably asleep. But as she neared his room, she heard his soft voice. Dad, I knew you didn't leave me. I missed you so much. Vivian curiously opened the door to find Stephen sitting on the edge of his bed in the dark. Stephen, who are you talking to? No one, Mom. Isn't it your bedtime? But Dad told me he would read me a story. How about I read you a story tonight? As Stephen finally dozed off, Vivian couldn't help the tears, pondering on how she was going to fill that empty space in Stephen's life. She felt so helpless and weak without James. People now treated her differently, tried to take advantage of her. Would she be able to get through these difficult times? James, are you really watching over us? Three men found lifeless in an alleyway on Junction Street. Their necks snapped. Authorities are predicting the incident was an accident, but have found no supporting evidence. Accidents happen once, not thrice. Find out who did this. I'll kill that. The next day, hearing the news of three of his men found dead, Raynor was furious. But he himself couldn't understand how this could happen. If it wasn't an accident, who could have done it? No one dared put their hands on his men. Late in the evening, Raynor sat out on the stairs behind the warehouse to take a smoke, when he suddenly noticed a shadow in the darkness. Who's there? There was no answer. Raynor got up, barely making out a dark figure. Who the hell are you?
You didn't recognize me?
Harding? No, it can't be.
What did you say to me? Your time is up.
No. Mr. White, I'm so sorry I'm late. It's been so difficult managing 2 jobs after my husband. Save it, Harding. That's none of my business. You shouldn't have bothered coming. You're fired. What? Please, Mr. White, it won't happen again. Time is money, Harding, and you're wasting my time. Take your things and leave. It had only been about a week since Vivian had gotten this job, and now she was fired. People were heartless. This world was heartless. As she walked out of the shop, she stared at her watch. It was 7 p.m. At least she could be home early. But tomorrow... Vivian sat at the table that night, watching Stephen eat all his food. He had been surprisingly well behaved. You're eating your veggies like a good boy today, Stephen. Dad told me to eat if I want to be big and strong. See? Stephen took out a crumpled piece of paper from his pocket and showed Vivian. Where did you get this? Dad left it by my bed. He leaves one for me every morning, and sometimes he even leaves behind gifts. Stephen finished up his food and ran off to his room. Vivian sighed, holding the paper. She knew Stephen didn't understand the truth, but if it made him happy, he didn't need to know the truth. Stephen walked into his dark room, slowly looking around. Dad, are you there? That's when he froze, seeing a toy car left on his windowsill. Oh boy, you're the best, Dad. You got me another one. We need those packages supplied immediately, Woodrow. Raynor's dead. His men are creating trouble. I don't care. Manage the situation. There has to be some clue. Officer Burton was shocked when he got news of the accidents. 4 men down, and the police were able to do nothing. Burton poured out his drink when he suddenly heard a noise from his balcony. Barely catching a glimpse of something pass by the door, Burton put down the phone. "Hold on, I'll be right back." Stepping out onto his balcony, Burton couldn't see anyone or anything around. I need to get some rest. But just as he turned to head inside, he froze to someone behind him. "Who are you? How did you get in?
Did you really think I would let you go?
James?"
You will never get away.
"But you're dead. How can it be? It was you, Raynor, and his men."
You all will pay.
Please, James, forgive me. Don't do this.
It's too late for forgiveness.
Please, James, forgive me. Don't do this.
Hearing the loud thud over the phone, Woodrow's heart raced. He couldn't believe what he had heard. James? How could that be? He immediately set out, informing the police department to report at Burton's apartment. But by the time they arrived, nothing could be done. Staring at Burton's body in a horrible condition, fallen from 4 stories, Woodrow could no longer keep his calm. This all began since James's death. First, Raynor's men, then Raynor himself. Burton, there was no explanation to how it happened. And next, it would be him. Woodrow lay in bed that night, unable to sleep, unable to think straight. He got up and went to his study, where he sat down beside the window to catch a breath of air. Burton's last words rung in his ears. Please, James, forgive me. Don't do this. No, it can't be. He's dead."
Did you really think death was the end?
Woodrow froze, hearing that voice, feeling that presence behind him. James, listen to me. Try to understand. I was under pressure. I'm not your enemy. It's them. It's the Secret Service. It was Burton.
You're a liar. You supported them.
If I didn't comply, they would have taken my life.
You don't deserve to live.
As James came nearer to him, Woodrow's heart trembled in fear. He couldn't take it anymore. Woodrow immediately opened his drawer, took out his gun, and held it at his head.
You think ending your life will set you free? Enjoy your time in hell, Woodrow.
With that, Woodrow pulled the trigger and fell to the ground. His blood splattered across the now silent room. As Vivian walked out of the darkness. Some months ago, Officer James Harding had discovered an underground drug syndicate operating in the city, bringing in substance via the city's seaport. And through his investigation, he found out these substances were being distributed and maintained by none other than the Secret Service to fund its own operations, and the police department were involved. On one hand, the law enforcement banned the use of substance, and on the other, they were the ones supplying it. And James was caught in the middle, not knowing what to do. In all this, Vivian noticed how frustrated James would be, spending all his time working, coming home late at night. James, what's going on? Is everything all right? They're all corrupted. From politicians to police, the Secret Service, they're all involved in this. I have to bring this to a stop. It was one night. James took out his frustration and told Vivian everything. But how will you fight against all of them on your own? Even if I can't fight them, at least I can expose them to the people. I've been collecting evidence against them, and once I've got it, I'll hand it over to a reporter. But James, these are dangerous people. There is a life risk, but I can't stay silent and let this go, Vivian. Are you with me? Yes. Over the months, James trained Vivian how to handle things in case she ever fell into danger, from combat to wielding arms and keeping a low profile. Use the element of surprise, the easiest way to immobilize your enemy. If you're in a close proximity, snap their neck. Always keep a knife, and don't try to reach your gun without creating distance from your attacker. Space equals time to draw your arms. If something happens to me, they'll have an eye on you because they'll suspect you have information, so keep a low profile. Get a simple job and pretend you know nothing. And as for Steven, don't let him know I'm gone. He won't be able to bear it. Keep an illusion that I'm still there for him. Leave notes, keep toys for him by the windowsill. Don't tell him the truth, not until he's ready. Take a look at this pen. I always have this on me. It's a special device. It has a radio transmitter. If you can't reach me, or I go missing, you can trace the signal from here. James, stay strong. I will. But in all this, James's partner Woodrow found out about him and gave him up to the authorities, with orders from the Secret Service. Woodrow and Burton then tricked James and brought him to Rayner's warehouse, where they kidnapped, tortured, and eventually took his life. But what they didn't know was that they weren't the only ones there. When James didn't communicate with Vivian, she followed the signal from his pen and reached the port. But she was too late. But that dark night, Vivian swore she would avenge his death. And one by one, she kept her vow.
You didn't recognize me?
Harding? No, it can't be.
say to me,
Your time is up. No, no.
You all will pay.
Please, please, James, forgive me. Don't do this.
It's too late for forgiveness.
Staring at Woodrow's body, Vivian wiped the blood off her face. I didn't spare any one of them, James. I took your revenge. It was around midnight when Vivian returned home. She peered into Stephen's room. He had found the note and the toy airplane she had left for him. Mom, look what Dad got me. Wow, such a nice toy. Mom, is Dad gone? No, sweetheart. Dad will always be with you. He's always watching over you. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.